This is pretty bad news for the Cardano ecosystem, where two very large projects looks like they've pulled the plug and they've run out of funds and they are no longer able to continue their development. This is Ardana and Orbis. Let's get into it. Now, the Cardano ecosystem isn't immune to its own dramas. There's a whole bunch of things going on at the moment, and this is probably the biggest highlight, with Ardana and Orbis pulling the plug on the project for now, or at least halting development until they can work out a continuation plan to keep things going, hand the project to someone else, whatever it may be. And there's also a little bit of drama around the post-launch of Indigo as well, with 35,000 INDY tokens being sold on the market all in one go. So that's a lot of INDY tokens that were sold, and it tanked the price dramatically, and we'll get into that a little bit after. But first off, let's have a look at what's been going on with the Orbis project and what on earth is going on here. Now, Bison Coin, yeah, I do have to admit, you did call this one quite early. You did see some red flags and whatnot within the project and what was going on, and people did predict that the project was running out of money. Now, the Orbis team were doing the NFT sale to raise funds in order to pay for the development of the L2 solution. That was known as Orbis, and Orbis is a L2 solution, layer 2 solution that was built on top of Cardano to help it scale up and allow smart contracts to run really quickly on that layer for a cheap price, and really explode and grow the Cardano DeFi ecosystem. But of course, that didn't come to fruition. It takes millions and millions of dollars to be able to actually build these kinds of ZK rollups, ZK snarks, which are using zero knowledge proofs, and this technology and development takes millions and millions of dollars. It's a tech that is still being built out on the Ethereum ecosystem, and they've already spent millions and millions of dollars doing so. So it's not an easy task. So we first saw that the NFT sale was halted. So at this point in time, maybe they were in communication with their external investors, and investors were starting to pull out. And even with the money that they're raising through the NFT sale, without the backing of their investors, maybe, I don't know, that it still wasn't enough money and still not enough funding to keep things going. You can see on the JPEG store site where the NFTs were being sold, the live minting here has stopped. You aren't able to purchase it anymore. So this I think ended just above the 50% mark. So there was still another 50% of the tokens needing to be sold. And you can see the price of the NFTs is dropping dramatically as well. Floor price is 8 ADA at the moment. I'm actually quite surprised that there's only 410 unique owners. I don't know if that data is absolutely correct, but they managed to raise, from what I've seen, just over 1 million ADA for this particular NFT sale. So that's quite a lot of ADA there for this NFT sale. And it's really unfortunate that it's been put on hold and the team has pulled the plug. Now, after this halt of the NFT sale, they actually put out a statement here. It's pretty poorly typed out. I think they rushed this one here. Hey, unfortunately, due to constrained funding and uncertain conditions, Orbis Lab is unable to continue building, and the project has come to a halt. So that's really unfortunate. The NFT sale has come to a halt. We as a team will do what is necessary for investors and community members to be made whole going forward. So it's very unfortunate here to hear all this, but this is an unexpected result due to committed investors very recently pulling out of the project, and recent events in the crypto space which affected Orbis directly. Now, I do know from other conversations in the space that the team did get funding from Three Arrows Capital, and on a regular basis, as their vesting schedule came along, they would dump the token. So it was on the 24th of every single month. If you go back and have a look at the candles here, if you look at the various dates, let's go back a month here. Let's change this to 1 day. So around the 24th, where is it? There we go. 21st of October, we see a big dump there. Another dump on the 28th. And what's the date here? Roughly around the same dates. Now let's check a little bit month before. September 21st, 24th. Yep, around the same dates, the 20th, 21st. We see the big dumpings of the Dana tokens. And apparently, this is when Three Arrows Capital, who were affected by the Luna crash, would dump their tokens on a regular basis to get assets back in order to pay their debts and their creditors too. So you can see that happening on a very regular basis all around the same time and date of every single month. So you can see a big one here on the 21st. So in terms of capital for the Dana project, if they were using Dana liquidity here to fund their development, of course, this would have an adverse effect on their funding. And you can see it's just dropping dramatically over the course of this year. So the big fallout in May, I think that's when Luna started crashing, and then everything just fell apart from there. So if, I don't know, if that price could have been maintained, maybe the project would be in better shape now. Really, really unfortunate. Now, if I scroll back a little bit further, go further back in time, I think I purchased Dana tokens all the way back up here. It's not even at the price when I purchased it. Yeah, the last purchase price I recall on a centralized exchange was around $6 per Dana token. And I have 117 Dana tokens left. So I'd love to see what that cashes out to be. 15 ADA, fantastic. All right. Now, if we look on the announcement from the Ardana side of things, it's essentially the same. Unfortunately, due to the recent developments with regards to funding the project timeline recently, the Ardana project has come to a halt. So same story, same narrative across both projects, mainly because it's the same teams that are working on it. Now, they still are working on the ISPO, so more updates surrounding the ongoing ISPO will be coming soon. So now this was another really big disappointment. The ISPO, a lot of people did delegate to all those pools of the ASPA, the Ardana State Pool Alliance, my pool being one of them. And you would earn your Dana tokens and your ADA rewards at the same time. So at least you're not losing your ADA rewards, but you could have been delegating elsewhere and earning some new tokens or whatever it is in the ecosystem. And the Dana rewards that were coming out of that were really, really small. Understandably, they can't just dump a huge amount of Dana tokens on the market because a lot of people just mostly sell that for ADA and it will tank the price even further. So it's interesting to see what has come out of this. Maybe they should have held on to the Dana tokens and distributed them right at the end of the ISPO, so it wouldn't affect the downward sell pressure of the token at the moment. Maybe the tokens shouldn't have been released so early until there was a working product, etc., etc. A lot of things to think about. A lot of things that, you know, now with hindsight, you could probably think it could have been done better, such as selling crypto assets at the point of receiving them so that you can actually pay for development. That's a big thing. And I know a lot of people in Project Catalyst, when they receive their funding for their projects, they will sell their ADA rewards at that point in time to be able to pay for bills, pay for developers, pay for writers, pay for whoever creatives to actually continue the project and let it keep on running. And you can see the price of ADA drop slightly on those sell days as well. So when people get their Project Catalyst funding rewards, they would usually sell them at that point, and you do see dips in the market at that point in time too. So it's a lot of things to think about here. It's a crazy time at the moment, and I know a lot of people will be affected by this. Now, there could be a ray of hope. We see here Hussein Fraja. I'm so sorry, mate, if I'm saying your name wrong. I know I'm saying your name wrong. But we met briefly in Sydney, and these guys from New Genesis, they're one of the projects that were I guess, completely ripped off by FTX when they went for an exchange listing. Very interesting story, and it's a good, if you have time, watch their YouTube channel, and they go through their whole explanation and story of how they're affected by FTX and what they did, what FTX did for their token listing, and how they sold and dumped on their own investors. So it's a very interesting story to hear. But here we have, you know, a little reach out to Orbis, and they may be able to help the project out a little bit, maybe adopt or take on board the Orbis project, and then keep it running and further development that way. So who knows? I'm not too sure about this. Now here on the Ardana side of things, we have Artem reaching out. He's one of the Sunday Swap founding members, and they're looking into possibly purchasing some of the infrastructure and internal tooling from Ardana and maybe continuing the project that way. So maybe we can see something from this. We can see a little bit of conversation here. Now, I did try and do a breakdown of the Ardana GitHub repositories, but maybe there is something more here that I don't know about. This conversation between ADAOZ and Jarek from AXO may be alluding to something that I obviously don't know about. So what's going to happen from here, I do not know. This story is still developing. I'll try and keep you guys updated. I am also directly affected by this particular rug pull, if you want to call it rug pull, this change of hands of a project, whatever it is, however you want to call it. Now, Jack here is also monitoring the story, and he'll be doing a video about this as well. So I'd love to hear his perspective and see what he knows about what is going on in this particular ecosystem. Now, if we just have a quick look over his latest Twitter threads, this one here is around the INDY token and the INDY token market dump. I suggest you read over that one as well. It's another quite a lengthy one, but it goes all the way into the shorting of the INDY token by a potential member of Liquid Finance. You can go through this thread. It's a very detailed thread. It follows the money. It looks at where things are going, see what's actually changed. He's gone through and talked to various team members to try and work out what's going on. And in the end, let's go here to the summary right at the end here. Still, the $1 million question left unanswered. Why did he risk 805,000 INDY tokens for 35,000 INDY? What did he know what that we don't know? So it's beef between the projects, maybe, I don't know. Have a look at what's going on here at this particular project. There's a bit of fighting in between projects. The bull market brings out the worst of us, I think, and we'll just have to sit back and see what happens with these stories and what develops out of them. All right, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving me a thumbs up, click that subscribe button, click the notification bell, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys know that I don't know. If I didn't say something correctly, please correct me. It's gonna be fun and games. I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.